first exploration was short. They didn't know what to expect, so they decided to keep it safe for now. But while the exploration was short, their findings, their discoveries, were enormous. Right at the moment Austin stepped outside, he already knew it. It wasn't difficult to realize by any means, but it seemed like Austin was the first who knew what all of this meant. There were signs everywhere. Signs so obvious, so giant, that no one could have ignored them. This planet, it was inhabited by intelligent living beings. Well, at least it was once. While they couldn't see any living being on the planet, their buildings, their technology, it was everywhere. Giant towers and installments for communications reached into the sky. Old buildings and housing districts seemed to be everywhere. Austin was so fascinated to see all of this that his fear was simply blown away. We wanted to discover this new planet. We wanted to meet the inhabitants of this new and unknown planet. We wanted to see what they were capable of. He wanted to talk to them, get to meet them. He wanted to learn from them. Austin made a step forward and slipped. The first step into his new home also could have been his last one. Austin fell to the ground and hit his head on a small stone. The glass of his spacesuit shattered. He closed his eyes. That's it, he thought. There's no air to breathe on this planet. No chance for me to survive. He opened his eyes again and took what he assumed was the last breath he would ever take. He could taste a little bit of salt and an overwhelming fresh breeze of air. He took a second breath, and a third. The air tasted just like back on Earth. He turned around to the rest of his crew. just stood there, with fear and tears in their eyes. They looked a little bit like they were looking at a ghost. Like they were just looking through Austin. They just couldn't believe what had just happened. Finally, as they saw the big grin and the overall happiness on his face, they started to realize this planet had air, fresh, breathable air. One of them sunk on their knees and started crying out of sheer happiness. The others took off their own helmets in order to experience the wonder that they had just stumbled upon. Finally, they had found their new home.
Yeah, no, that's fine, darling. I did say that would probably be the case. But he's not up here. I'm no doubt it'll be up in a minute, so you can come and say hello to him. I'm sure he'll be up.
After the discovery of fresh air, everything went very quickly. Everyone was eager to get to know the new planet. Every day, new scout teams would go out to learn more about the new environment. They discovered water, and even edible plants and small animals. One thing they did not discover was any bigger or more dangerous animal. It seemed like the whole planet was a giant, peaceful paradise. Sure, it looked a bit different from what they were used to. And even the gravity was a bit lower than the one on Earth. But all in all, the planet was perfect. It didn't have any poisonous animals or plants. No animals with sharp teeth. And in general, nothing that could hurt a human. Everything was peaceful and coexisted without bringing harm to another. The humans soon decided to use parts of their crashed spaceship to build a new base. They wanted to fit into this new environment and peacefully coexist with the animals on this planet. They started farming the new plants. To create a reproducible source of food. They started to study the living beings on this new planet, to learn more about its past and about the way everything worked. They even built several research facilities to optimize the amount of time they needed to understand the new world. It was a beautiful time. Filled with exploration and small wonders. The humans started to understand. They started to see how a world so similar and yet so different could exist. They were eager to learn more. adapt to their new home. To fit in, to protect. They built solar-powered cars to extend their reach and to learn even faster. And soon after, they made a new incredible discovery. It seemed like the intelligent being that used to live here before left the planet on purpose. They didn't want to spoil this little piece of paradise. But more importantly, they left behind some of their old technology. New ways to harvest fruits and vegetables. New ways to power machines. New ways to travel. New ways to build houses. But most importantly, a new way to generate enormous amounts of energy. Strong enough to power whole cities, maybe even whole planets. A new way to make sure the humans would be able to survive and grow as a race. This new source of knowledge enabled a small group of humans to grow faster than ever before. They used the new harvesting techniques to make sure that there would be enough food for everyone. They used their new building techniques to build bases even in the highest mountains. And they used their new source of energy to power their machines and cars. And while the new energy wasn't perfect by any means, it was much more efficient than anything they ever used before. It all centered around one small generator. The generator needed a certain material to work. And the material could be found under Earth. In the deserts, in the mountains, at the ground of some lakes. Basically everywhere. Even a small amount of this kind of crystal would be enough to power a whole city for a week. Or a single base for more than a year. The humans started to build bases all over the planet. They wanted to secure as many of the crystals as they could. To make sure that they would never run out of it. To secure their beloved progress. To secure their evolution. But while some of this might sound bad, it actually wasn't. The crystals were not destroyed in the process. They even regained their lost power over time. The humans had learned to understand their new planet. They understood how to use their resources without destroying anything. They understood the gift that they had received. And they needed to make sure to preserve their new knowledge, technologies, and nature for generations to come. It was this thought that actually made them contact a ship from outside of their community. Ship that was still out there. Searching for a new planet. For a new home. They wanted to share their gift with the rest of humanity. They wanted to make sure that no one had to suffer once they reached a planet that was fitting. To preserve their planets, to preserve their nature. Their knowledge. They compiled a file with all the information they gathered and sent it to the unknown spaceship. A spaceship that should become their messenger. A spaceship that would help them to spread the new information all around the galaxy. A spaceship that would help to preserve their knowledge. That would help to share their knowledge with everyone. A messenger of peace. A messenger of happiness. With a message that should change humanity at its core. A message so powerful that no one would be able to ignore it. So pure, it would spread like a fire and change the essence of humanity. A message to not only save their own race, but also the future of the whole universe.